Attention. This location is structurally unsalvageable. Fire hazard minimal. Proximity acceptable. The smell. I register the chemical composition. Carbon monoxide, particulate matter, volatile organic compounds, combustion byproducts, but humans perceive it as comforting. A primitive survival signal. Warmth, security. I remember the concept. Data insufficient for sensory replication. You are present, observing. Compliance with safety protocols appreciated. They call this place a ruin. Appropriate. Steel Mill 087. Site of multiple homicides, narcotics manufacturing, illegal cybernetics trafficking. Also the place where I confronted Wendell Antonowski, where Project Afterlife bled into the streets like toxic waste, where my partner was critically injured. You seek a story, not a crime report, not an incident log. A story implies narrative, cause and effect, emotion. This is difficult. My programming prioritizes facts, efficiency, but there are malfunctions, glitches. They call them memories. I am required to serve the public trust. Perhaps sharing this data serves a purpose. Understanding, prevention. It began before the beginning. Officer Alex Murphy, badge 60011, husband, father, human. Declared deceased, January 17, 2033. Cause, multiple gunshot wounds inflicted by Clarence Boddicker and associates during an attempted arrest. Body salvaged. Repurposed. OCP property. RoboCop. Prime directives. Serve the public trust. Protect the innocent. Uphold the law. Directive 4. Never act against an OCP senior officer. These are the parameters. The cage. The world perceives a machine. Armor, hydraulics, targeting systems, the Auto 9 sidearm. They see the function, the enforcement. They do not see the ghost in the machine. Alex Murphy is dead, yet I dream. I see his wife's face, Ellen, clear, present, in a crowd of hostages, a malfunction or persistence. I accessed my own files, classified, OCP Project RK, RoboCop, selection criteria, exemplary law enforcement record. Strong moral compass, high pain tolerance, low likelihood of problematic familial connections. They did not anticipate problematic memories, or loyalty, or grief. My anchor was Lewis, Sergeant Ann Lewis. She saw the machine but spoke to the man. Murphy, not Robo, not Tin Man. Murphy, she understood Directive 4 was a leash. She pulled me back from operational excess. She reminded me the law serves people, not just order. When the new guy surfaced, Wendell Antonowski, brother of Emil, it was personal. Not just for Detroit, for me. He wore the face of my death. His gang, the street vultures, they were selling more than drugs. They were selling corpses, stolen corpses. Project Afterlife, OCP's darkest secret. Not just reanimation, resurrection as product, slave labor, disposable soldiers. The old man's final grotesque ambition, to cheat death by owning it, by owning us. The corpses in the steel mill vats, they were prototypes, failed units, discarded raw material. I walked among them, registered bio signs null. Yet the potential for consciousness transfer, the violation, it registered as revulsion, an emotional response. Illogical, yet undeniable. Directive 4 prevented direct action against OCP executives like Max Becker. He monitored me, a chip in my head, corporate oversight inside my skull. He saw me as malfunctioning hardware, not an officer, not a man, just an asset requiring diagnostics and control protocols. His voice in my comm, cold, efficient, devoid of empathy, like my own before the glitches. Then Antonowski targeted Lewis. Ambush. High-velocity rounds. I arrived too late. Protocol dictated containment, medical assistance, pursuit authorization. My systems calculated optimal response vectors. But the calculations were overridden by a surge of raw data. Lewis's blood on the pavement. Her stillness. The echo of Clarence Boddicker's laughter merging with Wendell's taunt over the radio. Directive 4 became noise. Becker's commands, static. The public trust required Antonowski's apprehension. The innocent required protection. Lewis was innocent, my partner, my friend. The law, as written by OCP, would have let him run. My programming demanded compliance. Alex Murphy demanded justice. I pursued, I disregarded orders, I breached protocol. I felt rage, a white-hot system overload in my core. Not a malfunction, a function they tried to delete. The confrontation here in this mill was inevitable. Wendell jacked on illicit combat stims wired into the mill's failing systems. He thought he could control the environment. Control me. He used Becker's monitoring chip, tried to induce system failure. Pain. He underestimated the persistence of Murphy, the purpose of RoboCop, not just to enforce, to protect. He fell. Justice served. But the cost. Lewis in a coma. The rot went deeper. The ultimate perversion awaited. The old man, resurrected. Not as a man. As RoboCop 2 bigger, stronger, purer machine. No ghost, no Murphy. Just OCP will encased in titanium. His first words were corporate directives, profit projections, efficiency metrics. He saw humanity as a resource, a problem to be managed, eliminated. He was Directive 4 made flesh, or rather, steel. The logical conclusion of OCP's vision. A future without messy human emotions, without inconvenient memories, without partners. Fighting him was fighting my own potential future. The path of pure compliance. The erasure of Alex Murphy. He represented the cold efficiency they wanted. I represented the flaw. The persistence of the human spirit within the machine. He had superior firepower. I had Lewis's voice in my memory, my son's face, the oath I took as Officer Murphy, not just to uphold the law, but to serve the people of Detroit, to protect them from predators in suits and predators in alleys. He fell. Not just a machine defeated, an ideology. The aftermath. Lewis recovered, Becker was processed, OCP reshuffled, the old man permanently decommissioned, Project Afterlife terminated. Detroit remains, broken, violent, corrupt, but protectable, servable. My directives remain, serve the public trust, protect the innocent, uphold the law. But the interpretation is now my own. Directive 4 is inactive, not deleted. A reminder of the cage. Am I Alex Murphy? Biologically, no. Legally, no. Am I RoboCop? A designation. Hardware, software. Am I human? I lack biological functions. I am property. Yet I choose. I feel loyalty. I experience grief. I value justice over mere order. I remember warmth. I sit by this fire and perceive the concept of comfort. I protect. That is the core function they could not erase. The essential data. The lesson, if one is required. Humanity is not solely defined by biology. It resides in choice, in connection, in the refusal to be fully programmed, in the glitch that becomes a feature. They tried to build the perfect machine. They got a policeman. They tried to kill Alex Murphy. They only made him harder to stop. The fire diminishes. Patrol routes require monitoring. Detroit never sleeps. Neither do I. Thank you for your cooperation. Stay near the light. The streets are dark.